And I didn't get no shot until I got to school, up on School Hill. And then she came up there and they all lined up out there and went and got a shot.
Did you and Earl go to school together? Like, I know you was older than him, but whenever you was in second or third grade, did you go to school together?
Yeah, he went to school. We didn't go together. I usually went by myself.
Did you like school? You had everything was in one class, wasn't it?
Yeah. Everything was in one class.
So you were, you and Thelma and Earl, were you all in the same class together?
Did they go to a different school? Did they go to a different school?
No, I guess it's the same school, but not with me. Different grades.
So even back then, in the 30s or in the 40s, they had different teachers for different grades.
Yeah,
Was it the school that was up on the hill?
yeah.
You remember your teacher?
One of them was Miss Black. One was fur, one was a cotton. One was a mannequin.
But you dropped out of school, didn't you? After the 6th grade?
After my dad died, Mom didn't want me to go to school. I had to go babysit.
Was that the 6th grade?
I had to go to babysitting and bring in $10 a week. They had to support Mom.
What'd she do? Did she work?
She was able to walk and go and stay with a woman at night. And do that.
So she was kind of a caregiver like you are.
Yeah.
Must be where you got it from.
She would stay with the people that were sick and in bed. Stuff like that at night. She could go over day, but she went at night. Stayed with the person. Yeah, she stayed with a lot of women at night. One woman fixed it to where she could draw some income. That's how she managed. And that was in her later years, didn't last very long. She said she needed some income.
Who took care of you guys during, when she was gone? Would it have just been one of the older kids?
Nobody. We took care of ourselves.
Did any of the other ones go full 12 years of school?
No.
None of them?
Junior's the only one. And that was after he married. He made him get an education.
He went back and got his GED.
Yeah.
When you moved into the house there, what was the name of that street that house was on? Mallsharp's house.
Wasn't no street.
It didn't have a name? It was like an alley, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, my dad owned from the highway, going up the hill, from the road down under, he owned all of that up to where our house was. Where
The bridge was all the way back
all the way from the back road, going up the back road up.
Including the road?
The river road,
Yeah.
from the river road all the way up to the Bloomfield Road. He owned all of that. All the way up to the railroad track.
And did he build the houses
Yeah,
and sold them or rented them?
he built 3 houses.
Did he sell them or rent them?
Well, he rented them until Leonard and Juanita moved in that one. Down at the end of the road, there wasn't no houses at all. There were no houses. But he gave Louise a lot at the end of the road. Whenever Thomas got out of the Navy, they was to build a house right there and move in it. And Thomas wouldn't let her. So she sold it. So when she sold it, somebody else built a shack there.
off.
And after that, there was another shack. and all of those, except the one going the other way. Now, it was a pretty good house. Grandma and Grandpa moved in that, and Uncle Lee and Aunt Omi. And they moved in, that was a nice house.
Was that coal yard?
Yeah, the coal yard
Was that always there?
Yeah, the coal yard was always there. And in the winter time, the train would stop twice a week, on Tuesdays and Fridays. And they would unload coal in the coal yard. And if the coal was fine and not very big, they'd rake it through the fence where Mom could get her coal.
That's what you heated the house with?
Yeah, that. Mm-hmm. And then my dad chopped wood too.
There was a flood wall behind your house.
There wasn't no flood wall.
There wasn't a flood wall then?
No, my dad owned all the way back to the river road going back that way.
When did they put the flood wall in?
Oh, they didn't put the flood wall in till just before my dad died.
What river or creek was that behind the house?
It was a river,
What was the name of it?
White River, I think. And when it would flood all the way up to the back of the house. And it would get in the house down the road, but it would never get in our house. Our house was up high enough that it never got in up to the house.
It flooded
got
the town
close.
one time, didn't it?
Huh?
It flooded the town one time, didn't it?
Yeah, but it never got to the house. And the ones that was in town and they flooded, they come up and got in Mom's house when he was building it. It wasn't done yet. And they went up there and stayed until the water went back down. Don't even know who they were. But the house wasn't finished.
Salt River.
Salt River.
So Ma Sharp's sister lived next door to you guys.
Yeah, not for many years. Not for many years.
Was there a house there before that trailer was put in, or was that
Wasn't
wasn't anything there?
There was one house and a barn up there. and her name was Lizzie Ingram and Bud Ingram. And they lived up there, and they had tobacco, and they was just at the foot of the colored graveyard. There was a graveyard on the other side of the railroad track, and it went on up to the top of the hill. And on top of that hill, there was a house. And Dillard and Charles and all of them lived up there at the top of that hill. And you had to walk through the graveyard to get to their house at the top of the hill. And somebody nearly scared them to death walking one night through that graveyard and thought it was somebody, a ghost getting them. Scared them.
Who was the first sibling to move out on their own, go out on their own? Was it Leonard?
It was Leonard. His first marriage was Christine. Yeah, it was Christine.
So it was
Christine Bird.
So who were the oldest to the youngest?
Leonard was the oldest, then Louise.
Louise.
Mm-hmm.
Then Junior.
No, Philip.
Philip.
Then Junior.
Then Junior.
Then Thelma.
Thelma.
Me.
You.
And Earl.
For some reason, I thought you and Philip were close together in age.
He's the same age as Bryant. Bryant's was in April, the last of April, and Philip was in 7th of December. And that was that much difference in their age.
Did you have fun growing up in a big family like that?
Yeah, we always close together. On Sundays, we always had a big dinner.
How old was you whenever, who was it, Leonard, put your fingers in that grinder?
No, that was Junior.
Junior did that?
Yeah. We lived up on Ashes Creek, up on the hill. And he and Ella and Uncle Lafford lived across the creek. On the other side of the creek, you had to walk through a big field, down a creek, go up a bank, and that was their house. And we went over there, Mom did, and we had to stay over there with their kids while they went to town. And Junior was over there, and we had a washing tub, one on each side, and the wringer was on the, come up between on the ground and come up. You've seen those old-fashioned ones.
Yeah.
And Junior was out there playing on it, and I walked around there, and he said, "Catherine, stick your finger in here." He said, "It won't hurt you." And I said, "I'm not going to do that." And he said, "Really, it won't hurt you." And I did. I tried it, and it run my finger off. They didn't do anything about it, though.
Didn't go to the doctor?
No, Lord, no. Didn't know what a doctor was.
Which one was it?
That one. It's that much shorter. And then it wasn't a week later till I was helping Mom over there, who had a great big long kitchen as long as these two rooms are put together. And she had one long table in the house stripping tobacco. Had to tie 'em up, you know, how you get 'em up and then tie 'em up. And all whenever's ready to tie off to send off to sale. And she had a table over here, and it was a long table. And then our kitchen table was over here, a big old round table. And she was trying to fix dinner for all of them. It was working in the tobacco. And I said, let me peel them potatoes. She said, no, 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 no. Now you know better than that. You're going to cut your other finger off. And I said, no, I won't. So she laid the knife down, went back over to the back, and I went over and got that big old knife and started peeling potatoes and almost cut that one off. And she said, all she did was, I told you so. Went and got some suet and put on it and put a rag around it, and that was it.
Rub some dirt in it and just keep going.
Yeah, that's it. There wasn't no doctor or nothing back then.
When you were little, there was still all kinds of horse and buggies around, wasn't there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did your dad ever own one? Horse and buggy?
He owned mules. No, he didn't own no buggy. There was no Model 8 Ford that he could drive.
There's a picture of you with your dad, you and your dad, you're sitting
On
on
the
a mule.
mule. My dad was partial to me.
Was he a farmer or did he?
He was a farmer, and then he was a truck driver.
Hmm.
He hauled it all the way to Lexington and things like that and back. And then he had a wreck, and it about killed him. And it caused him to go into a stroke on this side of the face, and bones worked out of his ears. So he wasn't much able to do anything, but he went into carpenter's work. And he wound up being the manager for carpenters, you know. And Uncle Alfred and Jimmy and the boys all helped him. And they built most of all the filling stations in Taylorsville, and part of the parsonage of the Baptist church, and a lot of houses away from town.
Guess that's how Philip got into the
That's how
carpentry business.
That's how Philip got into that.
Philip also worked for the state highway, didn't he?
He worked on the state highway from time he was 18 until retired. Made big money.
Did you work anywhere before you moved to Indiana? Did you work anywhere in Kentucky?
Just babysit. Had to babysit one for another.
How'd you and Dad meet? Did Leonard introduce you, or?
Well, whenever I was at home, and I was probably about 15, Charles Norton came to Taylorsville. He was already up here, and brought Bryant with him. And Bryant brought his guitar. And Leonard had a dobro. And Leonard sang, and then Bryant sang, and they wanted me to sing. And Bryant had a one of those record things that you play and sing, and all that dirt stuff peeled off of it.
Record?
Yeah, recorded. And he did that on one song. And then they left. And Charles said later on that Bright wanted to know if I could go with him. And Charles said, Lord, no, she's too young for you. There comes somebody. Open the door.
Come on in.
Come on in. Come in.
Big ox.
Who is it?